Hey everybody, my name is Shawn Cantrell and I'm the Schools and Sports Program Leader over here at H&H Color Lab. And today I want to talk with you about pricing your schools and sports packages for maximum profit. Okay, so you can take the best photos in the world, but if your pricing is off, you're losing money. Worse, you're making sales, but you're not profitable. Today, I'm breaking down how to price your schools and sports photo packages for maximum profit without overcomplicating it or scaring away your customers. Rule number one, know your cost of goods. If you're spending 40% of your revenue on your print and product costs, you're doing it wrong. You can't scale, you can't grow, and you're working harder for less money, and nobody wants to be in that situation. The sweet spot when we talk with folks about pricing their schools and sports photos is about 15 to 25% cost of goods. That means if the package is costing you $5 to produce, you need to be selling it for at least $20, ideally $30 or more. Now, take into account also what's going on in your local market to make sure that the pricing is marketable and the elasticity of that makes sense with your other customers. But I don't want to get too far into that, but just know about 15 to 25% should be your cost of goods. And this really isn't about greed, guys. This is about survival. Your time, your overhead, your marketing, all of this costs money. This isn't a charity, this is a business. So get this ratio wrong and you're going to be working harder just to stay broke, and nobody wants that. Okay, let's talk about the psychology of pricing. Pricing isn't just math, it's about human behavior. So look at things like bonuses. Bonuses drive sales. People love feeling like they're getting a better deal. So instead of discounting, add value. Order by Friday and you can get a free social media download. You offer the same price, but now it feels like a win. Another way you could look at your pricing is doing the opt-out sales method. Now what this is doing, this is leaning into the idea that most parents don't want to have to think too hard about their school pictures. Give them a pre-selected best value package at checkout and let them downgrade it if they want to reduce the cost of those different options. The result, more people end up sticking with that default higher value option than opting out into those lower value points. So what is an example of that? Let's say you've got a package that's an 8x10, two 5x7s, 8 wallets, and has retouching and some magnets, okay? They can have the opportunity to downgrade that by taking the retouching or the magnets off, but still getting those print products. That's that opt-out method. Another thing you want to look at is sales tax. Now, some folks include it in the cost of the package, some folks will and then back it out, or other studios will add that in addition to, and that's where your online shopping cart can make that easier for you by doing the calculations and adding the additional charge up there. But the key here is just to be upfront, either include it or not, but make sure it's clear and there's no surprises when they get to that checkout screen, aka no friction there. And then the other thing you want to do is consider those cash sales. Now, some schools still deal in cash and checks, and if that's how they want to pay you, you should be open to those type of sale opportunities. If you're skipping this option, you're turning away some easy money opportunities. So by offering a cash payment option where it makes sense for you and your customers. Now let's talk about how you can structure your packages for higher sales. Prints sell. That's where you're going to find your greatest value and greatest opportunity. And that's the great thing about that, is that's where your highest margins are in your different products. But you don't want to just offer prints. You want to add some specialty products as well. I'm talking magnets, keychains, trader cards. These are those emotional buys. Kids love them and parents have a hard time saying no. But this is how you can increase those average orders while still maximizing your profitability in your packages of your prints. And while I'm talking about packages, the thing you want to think about is the idea of the gifting principle. So when mom and dad's buying a package, they're not just buying it for themselves. They're thinking about the grandparents, the aunts, the uncles. Packages should make it easier for those extra prints. They're gonna buy one and they're gonna gift the next two sizes down. So let's say it's an 8x10, two 5x7s, and four 4x5s. Now they're gonna keep the 8x10 and put that in the frame on the desk, but the two 5x7s are gonna go to the different grandparents, and the 4x5s are getting divvied out to the different aunts and uncles there. So make it easy for them to figure out how to share these portraits with the family members that they care about and make that decision easier for them. And then if we're talking about sports, memory mates still work. Every sports photographer should have a memory mate option as part of their offering. This is a classic product. It is nostalgic, but it's the one that drives sales time and time again. When I'm working with sports photographers, I see the package that's the most popular is the one that includes the memory mate at the lowest price. So if you're not pricing that right and putting that memory mate in the right package, you're losing out on opportunities for sales. Next thing I want to talk about is adding more control equals equals adding more value. So this is where having your predefined packages is important, but you can add additional options to drive additional value by giving the parents more control, okay? What am I talking about here? This is where your build your own package comes in. Say you've got a predefined 4-unit package, a 4-sheet package, but you want to offer them the option to build their own. Say they have a particular situation, they want to make sure they've got the right number of 5x7s for grandma and grandpa. By giving them the control at that same 4-unit package, you're giving them more value, and they're willing to pay more for having those different options. So make sure that you're pricing your build your own 4-unit package higher than your predefined 4-unit package, and you're going to reap the rewards every single time. Another thing you want to consider is different background options. Now, that's the value of having different green screen or gray screen or master's extraction type of knockout services, is you can give them the option to choose their own background. Give them the opportunity to do that. And if you can do that in a way that, let's say you're proofing those prints, those poses, to do it in a way that if you can photograph them on a blue or gray or master's background, then you don't have to knock it out before you start selling. You can only knock out those that are choosing to order on a different background, thus lowering your overall costs for those packages. Another one you may want to consider to give them more options is their delivery method. Now, it's very common, very popular for the school pictures to be delivered to the school. Either you're carrying them in, and I'm a huge fan of that, or you're having it drop shipped over to the school. I am starting to see more folks getting excited about being able to mail packages directly home to mom and dad. And so this is an opportunity where you can lean into that by saying, okay, you can have your pictures delivered with everyone else, and it's going to arrive on approximately this date. Or if you want to add $5 more or $7 more, we can have that mailed directly to your home. So giving them more options, more control, i.e. more value. The other thing I want to talk about is too many choices. If you have too many choices, you're going to overcomplicate it. You're going to wear down your customers, those parents, and you're going to potentially kill sales. You ever been to a restaurant and the menu is 3 pages long and you just want to order a burger? It gets overwhelming. So keep it simple. Look at those different programs out there where they specialize in just having a couple of different options, and yet they're still successful. You don't have to add 47 different options in order to be successful. Find the right ones that are maximizing that opportunity to win in your schools and sports pictures. And that's where being able to do some sort of sales analysis will help you key in on what products and packages are most popular for your customers. But the reality here is if you give them too many choices, they're going to get overwhelmed, and that's what we call analysis paralysis. When they get overwhelmed, they're not going to decide. They're just going to abandon their shopping carts and leave. So keep it simple, 4, 5, 6 packages maximum, okay? And the other thing to think about then is if they are spending the time to go through all those different packages, it takes them more time to figure out what it is they actually want to order. And i.e. that means fewer sales. The longer a parent spends debating, the less likely they are to buy. So reduce that friction, make the best option obvious to them. Don't make them work for it. The other thing to think about is that visual competition. So if you've got a bunch of packages, you've got to have a lot of representation in there. And now it's competition for them finding the package you actually want them to order. So keep it simple, keep it short, and show them what you want them to order. And as I was just saying there, keep it simple and keep it profitable. Pricing isn't about what you think your photos are worth. It's about what the customer perceives as value. So build your pricing around that, and you'll make more money without having to sell harder. Now go out there and make it happen. If you found this video helpful and want to learn more about schools and sports photography, sign up for the newsletter below.